in order to follow you. And he said, well, you need to follow the commandments. And they said one more thing.
Give up everything.
Give up everything you have and follow me.
It's not easy.
And then he went away discouraged because he wasn't at the point where he could give up his material standing.
It's not easy. So.
Right, because the priority for the Lord is his kingdom and his ministry, right? So that if we are putting material things or things that aren't of him as our priority, it's hard for us to open ourselves to completely to his blessing and what he would have us do for his kingdom and his life.
Invariably, we have been socialized in a way to fit into material realities. And that happened to us ever since we were little kids. We were trained to have somebody validate our lives. We always expected somebody to approve of something that we were doing. And we always expected approval all the way through. Well, is the approval good or bad? Invariably, the approval is necessary, but whose approval is it? Is it the approval of God? Whether we are acting in synchrony according to his will. See, that is the approval that we are seeking. But we have been trained to get approvals of people who are very limited themselves.
Man.
See what I mean? Systems that are limited, people that are limited. Okay? And that is what we are getting approvals from. It is necessary in a certain way so we can live harmoniously in a material universe. So, there are some value to it. But you see, all of these are values that we need to transcend so that we can be in perfect synchrony with God, where the ultimate approval rests. See, if we want that, then it's a matter of transcending. It's a matter of going beyond and beyond and beyond until we reach that point. If we are going to remain in our limitations, confined to our limitations, and expect God to come and fit in, that's not going to happen. See, that is the reason why God is saying, Jesus is saying, give up. Give up everything, come to me. You see, so it doesn't mean literally giving up. It means transcend. You see, transcending pretty much everything. That's really what it is. Okay, and the hardest thing to transcend, you know what that is our intellect. You see, although it has been so confined and so settled in dualities, we don't think it is limited because we have been thriving on it all our lives. And for us to say, gosh, I need to give up my intellect so that I can reach out to God, that really, really is the hardest thing to do. That's what Jesus says. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle.
A rich man go into that.
Yeah. So what does rich means? Somebody who is endowed. If you were to be endowed, if you were to have everything, obviously you need to have a brain and you need to have an intellect that is kind of catering to it. So what your intellect in many, many, many ways accumulating material attachments, and it is kind of acting within the confine of a duality-based limited knowledge, and it is limiting you from attaining the unlimited knowledge that is out there in the realm of wisdom. It is not even allowing you to even look at it, even consider, maybe what is out there is far greater than what I think I know. You see, it's not allowing us to do that. The hardest thing to let go of is our intellect itself. That's the camel that we are dealing with. It's not the ego. We think it is an ego. If we can bring our intellect under control, ego doesn't have a choice. It'll fall in place. So it is not the ego. It is what we so believe in within our limited boundaries. We want everything to come and fit into that. So that there is something going to be, which is a material outcome out of that. Invariably, all our prayers are like that. God, fit in. I ask you in the name of Jesus, come and fit in. Isn't it? See, that is how we even pray. The incredible life we have is when we realize the inner freedom in us. At a state in which I know nothing, I own nothing, I have no interest in anything, except the love of God. See, when we reach that level of inner freedom, everything is going to come and fall in place. Because we are abiding in Him, as Jesus wants us to. When Jesus abides in us and we abide in Him, what did He promise? Wish for anything, it'll happen to you. You can do greater miracles than I could. See, you can live an empowered life, even a bigger life than I lived when I was on earth. See, that is the empowerment of Jesus we are resisting. See, when we realize the abiding presence of Jesus within us, and when we see Him, when we act in synchrony with Him, see, all we need to do is wish for somebody to heal. It'll happen. Wish for the war to end in Ukraine. It'll happen. Wish that no children will starve today. It'll happen. Say, just wish, earnestly wish for these things. Just wish. You don't even have to pray for it. Jesus will take care of it. Because it's not you who is doing it. It is the will of God that abides in you. It is the will of God that is making you wish so that He can do what He is supposed to do. It is not His intention that children ought to starve around the world. It is not His divine will that countries have to fight between each other. It is the absence in our engagement in the divine will. That's what is going on here. That is why there is so much chaos around the world. So much chaos. Anything we touch is a chaos. Ends up in some kind of a chaos or something else. There is no peace, there is no harmony anywhere. See, the reason is lack of divine participation in our lives.
Yes. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the desert and streams in the wasteland. Isaiah 43:19.
Yeah. All right. What do you think it means?
Place where a difficult condition in our normal situation, and many times through our difficulties, it leads to us having a higher understanding that allows us to be supplied for in difficult conditions. You know what I mean? Like that a desert place for me is when my wife was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Yes.
And I was her only way that she could be taken care of and could be comforted, etc. And it wasn't something that I would have never chosen that in my soul. I would have never chosen that.
Mm.
I wanted to run. I really wanted to run, and I didn't think I could do that. But the Lord told me that I needed to take care of her the best I could possibly take care of her to very and do the most. And that was such a relief for me because actually, if I would have run away, I would have not felt that I was doing God's will. And when I'm doing God's will, then I feel that He gives me freedom to grow in my life rather than if I had been a coward and not had chosen God's route, I would have not grown in my relationship with Him and been able to do the service that He wanted me to do because that was my responsibility. That was my responsibility.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like it. It was a hard thing for me to do, and it was. But it was a desert place for me. But he made that a source of renewal in spirit and in my relationship with Him, and opened up a whole new life for me to continue to grow to Him. But it was a desert place.
Yeah, you mentioned two words, the spirit and life.
Right.
So what, according to this, like I say, he created a stream in the desert. The stream itself is a life. It's a
Right.
way.
So this is a very difficult place, and I said, in this very difficult place, since this is something that is agreement with the Lord and what He wants, I am going to be as obedient as I possibly can be and do the best I can do to have the strength in order to go through a very difficult situation. And He blessed me amazingly through that situation. But when I was going through it, it didn't feel like a blessing. It didn't feel like a blessing at all.
Yeah, He provide you a way, a new strength.
A way where we get, so like that's why that song, is you make a way where there seems to be no way. So we can't see it. That's His mystery there, is how He uses these very difficult things for His glory. That's totally for His glory. Right. And I in my flesh believed that I could not do that. But He encouraged me that I could. So when I just would follow Him, what was a very difficult situation turned out to be a lovely thing in my life. A lovely thing because, actually, I was reunited with family. And then I went through a period of grieving and letting go. And now I'm living a new life in Christ Jesus. He opened that all up through the adversity of that situation. But I would have never selected that. Never in my life. Yeah. So.
Any of you have any other reactions to it?
I thought it was very good.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Oh,
Let's look at it a little differently. Let's say these are inspired words by God. Isaiah was a conduit. He was just delivering it. That's all. Okay, so there is not a big role for Isaiah to play here except repeat what is being told. Okay, and God is saying, I'm doing a new thing. So I'm going to do something that I've never done before. Isn't it? And then he says, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Perception means all of your senses. It's not just intelligence alone. You are having a sensory experience of what is happening. Are you not having that sensory experience? See, it is an experience in fullness. That's what perception is. It involves your intellect. It involves your, your ego. It involves your body. It involves everything of your full being that is going to experience it. See, when we think in terms of God, we really need to think, what He is like. Instead of giving attributes, let's give some unmanifest, attributes to Him instead of manifest attributes. See, He is incredibly free-spirited. That is one. His love is unfathomable. Isn't it? His mercy is unfathomable. His compassion, absolutely ineffable. We cannot even begin to describe what it is like. His desire for us to kind of experience Him in our life, that is another thing that is completely ineffable. God desires us to experience Him in our life. That's a desire of God. See, I'm within you, I'm doing all of those things, and you are not even perceiving it. I'm already doing it. Guess what? I'm going to do something new so that you can. So that you can perceive it. It's not God is not already doing it, but He says, I'm going to try again. I'm going to try something new so that you can. See, imagine the hope of God in all of this. Imagine the faith of God in all of these. He still has faith in us that we are going to experience it. He still hopes that we are going to experience it. And then he goes on to say, hey, doesn't matter. Even if it is a hopeless condition, as a desert, I'm still going to make a spring of water gush forth all the way to heaven so that you can perceive it. Do you trust me as I trust you? Do you have faith in me as I have faith in you? Do you believe in me as I believe in you? See, if you do, even if you feel hopeless at this time, I can make it happen for you. That's what God is saying here. See that? I can make it happen for you, even if you feel hopeless. See, remember when earlier today you reacted, well, yeah, but doing it, experiencing it is difficult, it's hard. No, it's not. That's what God is saying here.
In our physical being, it's hard, but for Him, it's nothing.
It is nothing.
So that you.
It is nothing. It is absolutely a scorched earth as a desert. I can still make a spring of water gushing forth. I can still make it happen. Even when there is nothing that convinces you there is going to be water in this place, I will bring water. See, all our material knowledge, all our material expectations, all of our material expectations experiences, it tells us one thing. This is a scorched earth, it's a desert, there is not going to be a water here. Isn't it? Come on, don't be absurd. How could there be a water in this scorched earth, in this desert? Isn't that what our intelligence is telling us? But what God is telling us is something radical, absolutely the opposite. If you trust me, if you have faith in me, if you believe in me, as I trust you, as I have faith in you, as I believe in you, if you do, I will make it happen for you. It is not us doing it. God is going to do it. We are only going to be a conduit so that we can do what He wants us to do. That's all. That is all. There is not a whole lot more to it.
To die, right? This seems going to die, right?
I'm sorry?
Ishmael.
Yeah.
Abraham's
Yes.
first son, right?
Yes.
His mother, they want, instead of killing them, they put them in the desert to die.
Yeah.
What the God, saved them, right?
Saved them.
That seems impossible, but it's like it's His way that God saved them. So it's the God put out the stream of water, so their life is saved in a way. Remind me of that God's miracle, even though it seems impossible. But He went through, like He saved in a way, yeah. He put in the stream of water.
One thing that is so fascinating in the scriptures everywhere, God is not looking for a whole community to change. All He ever wanted was one person to cooperate with Him. You see that? All He ever wanted was one person to go along with His will so that He can make it happen for the whole world, for the whole universe. Just that one person. Take the case of Moses. Take the case of David. Take the case of a variety of people throughout the Old Testament and New Testament. All He's looking for is that one person. You see, that one person who will take that initiative to follow the will of God, to go all the way to see what God is doing within him, and be able to replicate what God is doing. That's all He wants. See, He is looking for somebody who can take that baton and lead the race. You see? So He can bring in excitement and blessing and everything to the whole universe. All He wants is that one person. See, with that one person, God, even in the Old Testament, gosh, there was water coming out of the rock. There was a Red Sea opening up. And we look at all the way to Exodus, from beginning till the end. It's always an impossible manifestation. Totally impossible. And how many people were cooperating with Jesus, with God, in all of these things? One person. One person. And here He is going to take a whole nation of Israel all the way on a trip. A nation of Israel. Nobody is getting along among them. Nobody can come to a consensus. Nobody can listen to His word. Nobody can do anything according to His will. Yet, all it required was one person to go along with God. One person. And that was Moses. What if that one person is one of us?
Because we would spread the word.
Yeah. One person who is willing to go to the extent, even through that hopelessness, all of our hopelessness, with one belief, it's not me. God is going to make, the water come out of this impossible situation. I'm not going to do that. God is. And I'm going to cooperate. Whatever He wants me to do, I'm going to do. See, if we can walk along and delve into spirituality in that kind of an attitude and that kind of a commitment, oh, it's more than a commitment, then we can be that leader God is searching for. Through us, He is going to change the universe. See, when the water is coming out of that scorched desert, can you imagine how many things are going to benefit from it?
Yeah, it's a life stream of water. Yeah.
Exactly. See, there is going to be green, there is going to be birds, there is going to be animals, there is going to be all sorts of things just because of that water. See, it is not just water that is coming out, it's a water that is going to transform the entire, universe around it. Everywhere the water touches is going to change, is going to transform. Everywhere the water touches, there is going to be life in it. Everywhere the water touches, there is going to be healing in it, health in it, trees, fruits. Just imagine. It only starts with a drop of water gushing up.
It's living water.
Living water.
Life.
Yeah.
Just the life for the human being is somehow is limited. Could be 90, 100 years old, right?
Yeah.
If person God used it, he died.
Yeah.
No oil, no the flood, right?
Yeah.
To take over. Carry on.
Yeah.
Is Moses died? Is Aaron the one who take over?
Yeah.
Is Noah died? Oh, his children take over? So certain thing that he must some kind of continuation. Yeah, I mean that part maybe is not as easy, But Jesus, when he was remind me of the Pontiac Roman, right?
Yeah.
Jesus, their last conversation that he said, Pontiac said, have life power to kill you. And Jesus replied to him that you have nothing.
Exactly.
The power that given to you from above.
Yeah.
So that is a powerful word,
Exactly. Look, let me tell you something. See, all of us are not permanent here. Even Jesus was not. Okay? But the continuation is there. You see, for instance, I am chosen. And here I'm talking to you, hoping that I can make a difference in one of your lives. Are you going to live forever? So is there going to be a continuation? But the continuation will be there if you go and tell somebody to do the same thing. See, if you become the conduit, and if you could benefit somebody by way of you being a conduit, and if that person's life can be transformed, yes, then there is going to be a continuity in this message. See, there are two ways we can do this. One is that I can just invent doctrines and indoctrinate you in a certain way and socialize you in a certain way and make you confined, in a certain way so that you can go and do that to other people so that indoctrination continues. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. Church has been very successful in doing that for 2000 years. See, But me, on the other hand, I'm saying something new, as Isaiah said. And in other words, I'm saying, you know what? Don't be confined. Don't be indoctrinated. Be as free as Jesus. Just be the person that you are, that Jesus wants you to be, as he abides in you, so that Jesus can work with you. See, that is what I'm telling you. I'm not trying to indoctrinate anything. See, I'm making you free. I'm telling you, in your freedom, the will of God depends on your inner freedom. Because even if we sit down and imagine the freedom of Jesus, you know what? Israelis tried so hard to indoctrinate him. Can you give me one instance they were successful? They could never succeed. Did they stop trying to indoctrinate him according to their laws and their way of life and their way of doing things? Did Jesus conform to that? He never did. Even if that meant death to him, he never did it. See, that is the sense of the freedom of Jesus. That is the freedom of Jesus. So, do we have that kind of an inner freedom? So that we can delve into the mysteries of God, we can experience everything the way God is telling us, instead of complying or instead of conforming to a doctrination. Do we have the freedom to go beyond it? If we have the freedom to go beyond it as Jesus did, then we are talking about something completely different. See, this is the reason why my teachings is not confined to any religion. It can transcend the religions. It can go beyond religions. Many of my followers are, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists. Many of them are. Because the message I give them, it applies to even in their religions. See, all I strive to do is just transform that one person at a time. And if that one person can become as free as Jesus, as liberated as Jesus, then Jesus would want to do something with that person. It can go on and on and on and on. I don't need to worry about who is going to continue after me. That is not my mission in life. My mission is just tell everybody so that one person, can become that leader, that Moses, that King David, that Jesus himself, that one person. Then that means the whole world to God. See, he's not going to transform just one little area. When he touches the ground, and that water that comes out of that ground is going to transform the entire universe.